adapter, and this wire adapter we can import from a Lightning UI object info API. And this wire adapter is very common nowadays in LWC, and we use this wire adapter to get the pick list value for a specified field. Before this adapter we used to call the apex, and then we used to fetch the pick list values, but with this adapter we don't need to write a single line of apex code. Let's look at the syntax. Syntax is very similar to our previous wire adapters. We import the wire from LWC module. Then we import getPicklistValues, that is our wire adapter, from a Lightning UI object info API. And then we call the wire, pass the wire adapter name, and here the wire adapter configuration basically is record type ID. We need to pass the record type ID, and don't get confused between the record ID and the record type ID. And then we have to pass the field API name for which field you want the pick list value, right? So in this example, or in this syntax we are showing, I want the pick list of industry field. From where I can get from the account object dot industry. So we'll pass that reference to our field API name, and we'll receive our pick list values. So for a note, like record type ID is the ID of the record type, and we can use the object info default record type ID property, which is returned from a get object info. So we have already seen how get object info wire adapter works. So that adapter returns us the default record type ID, and we're gonna use that record ID and pass it to a get picklist wire adapter, and then we'll get the pick list of a specified field. So let's go to our VS Code and let's quickly create a demo. So let's create a component now. I give this name get pick list values demo. Now my component is ready. We'll start with this basic syntax. We need a wire, and then I need to import my adapter, that is get list values, and from Lightning /UI object info API I should be small, P should be caps. So get pick list values, my adapter is ready. Now let's call this wire adapter name adapter configuration. Adapter configuration is record type ID. Here the ID will get passed. Then we need to pass the field API name, and we can let's fetch the pick list for the industry field. So I'll create a reference of industry field on the top. I'll say industry field is coming from @Salesforce /schema /account is my object name, and then the API name of the field dot industry. Industry R is there. So now I imported it. Then after this we have to mention whether our wire will be a property or a function. I'll use it as a function. It will receive data and error, and if data is there, to we'll console this data, and if error is there, we'll console error. Now we have set up, but right now we don't have a record type ID. So how we can get that record type ID? So if you would have seen our previous wire adapter, that was get object info, that returns usually the default record type ID. So what we're gonna do here is we'll call another wire function, and we'll pass the wire adapter, that is get object info, that will return us the object information with the metadata. So we'll say for which object you want to fetch the info. We'll say object API name is count object, and let's import that reference as well. Say import and just copy this. We got the count reference, and here we'll use it as a property. So this property will get the information or the data, and once the object information comes, this will store the default record type ID under dot data dot default record type ID. So it will store at second level after data. So what we're gonna do is we'll copy this path and we'll make this record type ID as reactive. I'll say dollar this. So whenever the object info receive the data, then only call this get picklist value and bring the picklist data for this record type ID and for a field industry field. So now we set up, and in the HTML we haven't done anything. Let's create the card quickly and say title get values demo, and just quickly add the class as well, that is padding class. Just to give the some padding around the card. And now picklist will come here simply as a placeholder. Let's go to the meta file and change it to true and set the targets. We can set the target as record page or app page. Let's keep the app page only for time being, and let's deploy this sftx force colon source colon push. So I am in my app now. Under the app, I'm in the wire service page. Let's edit the page and place our component here. The left hand side, let's search for our component name, that is get picklist values demo. I drag it here, I hit save. Let's go back and let's go to the console and see if the data is printing or not. This is our component name get values demo. Let's open the object, let's zoom it. Now you see we are getting the values, and the value has the label and the value, right? So we want these two fields, basically labels and the value. And let's see how we can create the picklist on the UI. So I'll go to a combo box documentation of component reference. I select combo box, and if you see we have a syntax here. Let me zoom it a little bit. So we have a syntax here, lightning combo box. Just copy this. This is the approach that you're gonna follow in the real time. Come here and paste it as it is. Let's go back there, and what's in the JS? In JS you have three things: value, get options, and handle change. Just copy that as it is and paste it below. Okay, so value is the value that you have selected in the combo box. So what we're gonna do is we'll change this value's name to, value is a very generic name, we'll change it to selected industry, and we'll replace this value selected industry and keep the first thing as empty only. Then we need the options. Options are in the form of label and the value. So the options will change this name to, we'll create another property here. We'll say industry options, and we initialize it with an empty array. I'll just comment it out because we need the syntax. And handle change is nothing on change, how to get the value, basically what you have changed in the pick list. And let's change the placeholder. We'll say select industry, and the label is industry, and we can change the name as well, industry. And for the option, we're gonna use what we have set here, industry options. So this is the syntax of lightning combo box. Basically we give the name, label, value, placeholder. Placeholder is the text that is coming on the text box when nothing has been selected. Then the option is the list that you want to render. And on change, whenever you change or select a pick list, this action will trigger on change and you immediately receive some data, and that data will come in the form of event detail.value. So we'll store, once the value come, we'll update our selected industry. Right now the only thing is we want our data from this data, basically that coming from the getPicklistValues adapter, and that should be in the form of label and the value. So what we're gonna do is, this is a very handy trick I'm teaching you, because in real time many use cases come with this trick. So always create a method called generate picklist, and this method will receive the data that is from the top. You can say here, we just call this method here generate picklist, and it will pass the data, it will receive the data, and once the data come, we have to generate the structure in this format, basically. Okay, and whenever we have to generate something, it means we have to transform the data, and whenever we have to transform the data, we have to use a map operation. What we're gonna do is, we'll say return data dot values dot map. So we are doing the map operation, and we are saying we need the data in this format, but this value will be dynamic. So this the value will be item dot label, this value will be item dot value. So you will think how I get to know whether data dot values will come or something else will come. So if I go back to our org and look at here, so data is the full object, under that I have values. I'm running the map operation on these values, and each object is an item in our map, and from there I'm picking up the label and the value. That's what I'm doing here. I'm picking up the label and the value, and it will generate an array of object like this. And once this generation is done, it will return the data, and we'll store this into industry options. This industry option equal to, and we'll just do a copy. I don't want to update my field directly, and it's always good to move your all local properties to the top. And now our combo box or pick list is ready. Let's see, let's deploy this. Now it's deployed. Let's go back and refresh the page. Now you can see that this select industry is the placeholder, industry is the label, and if I open it here, you can see the whole list is coming here. And if I select April, it will call the on change method and update our value here with the selected industry. We want to print, so what we have selected, we can say selected industry as selected, and deploy this, so we get to know which industry we are selecting. And refresh it again. Right now the selected industry is empty, and if I select April, it's April. Agriculture, so it's updating real time, and this is how you get the pick list value. and this is how you fetch the pick list from the org, and it's dynamic. We haven't wrote any single line of apex to get this. Let's quickly add one more pick list just to make sure like things are working correctly with multiple pick lists. So let's add and import another pick list called type field. We already know the type field is available in the account object. So the field name is type. So we have the type field. Here, like get object info, we don't have get object infos where you can pass multiple object API name. Here we have to call it separately. So what we're gonna do is we'll copy the whole thing again and I'll paste it below and I'll say second pick list of type. Okay, and it will take the same default record type ID dynamically, and here it should be field type, and I'll say here type pick list, and type pick list will data will come. It will call the generate pick list, and what we're gonna do here, we'll say type options. On the top, I'll create the type options, and here I can say selected type, and I initialize it with the empty string, and we can add the on change handler here as well. They handle type change, and it will update the selected type. And in the HTML, we'll just copy this card again, and we'll say get picklist value demo with type. And here what I'm gonna do is update the name label, selected industry becomes selected type, select type, and we'll say type options, handle type change, say selected type, we'll print the selected type. Let's deploy this and see if second combo box is working fine or not. Deployed, let's refresh the page. Now you can see that we have two cards, one with the industry, second with the type. So now I select type, customer direct. So now it's updating customer direct here. If I select industry, it's showing industry. Likewise, in the account object, basically we have around 10-20 picklist fields. So if we have to import 4 or 5, it's not a good solution to call this wire get picklist value 5 times or 10 times. For that we have another solution, and that solution is another wire adapter, that is get picklist values wire record type. So we'll look into that in the next video. So I'll see you in the next video.